Hey everybody, it's Ray at the Comedy Food Truck Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Go out and make your mamas proud.
I love my mama.
Mama said knock you out.
Hey. Mommy! So, make your mama proud and go ahead and subscribe to our
Mama.
YouTube channel. This is falling apart.
Mama,
this is awesome.
you know
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
You.
And enjoy the show.
I miss my mom.
You're listening to the Comedy Food Truck Podcast. We talk life, food, relationships, and have fun with all of it. And now here's your host, comedian John Hill.
Yeah. Wow, everybody. Do they hear what Ray did sound effects before?
On YouTube, they do, yeah.
On YouTube?
That wasn't me.
Because you went full deliverance mode on there. Like doing like a banjo with a...
Basically some mustard.
That was weird. Hey, welcome everybody to our podcast.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Hi. Hi.
No, I'm excited. It's well, we're coming off of Mother's Day, right? It's dropping Tuesday after Mother's Day, so hopefully you guys honored your moms or said hello at least, or if you are married, that you know, if your wife's a mom, maybe somebody made somebody a mom. I don't know what's going on Mother's Day.
Whatever you did.
Crowned him a mom.
No matter who you are, you got a mom.
That's true.
You didn't get to pick her, but you got a mom. No, we're happy. I'm excited for this episode. I'm super excited for this episode.
Yeah.
Yes, because we're going to interview somebody today.
Super de-duper.
Super de-duper. But before we do, I would like to introduce our cat. By the way, shout out to the Lakers who got past the Golden State Warriors and look like they're about to beat Denver, and they might be going to the finals again. I'm excited about that.
Word.
I called it. Nobody believed me, but I called it. But anyhow, Jared is on my left. How are you, Jared?
I'm chilling, bro.
This is so funny because people know we pre-record these.
Right.
So they have not won anything yet. But I'm throwing it out there because I'm going to be a genius. A genius. Scott Tay.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? I was telling pre-show that the hair is on point today.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got just the appropriate amount of gel. You got all kinds of like distinguished, like, you know, gray, like that makes you look like a guy that's, you know, ready to be in a leading man in a movie or something. I'm not kidding. No, in a video, the leading man in a selfie video.
The Shining Part 2.
Shining Part 2. No, and then you've got that nice goatee going, and it's got some gray and white in it, some wisdom. But then I was telling you, I have to say this: if you're watching on YouTube, check out my brother's like brown or whatever color eyebrows. Are those red? Are they brown? Are they brown red?
Red.
What are they?
Wow.
I don't remember what color your original hair was.
No, they're brown with a couple of strands of silver.
No, yeah. Well, I don't see the silver. I only see the brown. So I think it's crazy that above and below is all gray, but right there you get the brown.
Well,
Going right off them baby blues, you know. Looking good, my man.
got to work with what you got, man.
Well, you got a lot. I'm not lying to you. Look, hey, bro, look out. Your wife's right behind you.
I'm a little
No, it
uncomfortable.
made you look. I'm just playing. But thanks for being on the show, Scott.
Thank you.
I'm glad
My
you're
pleasure.
here from the OC.
All the way from the OC.
Right.
Yeah, baby.
From the land of better than everyone else. With your...
Is that Fiji water?
Right.
It's blurring out. I can't tell what it is.
Is that Fuji? Fiji? What is
Fiji.
it? Oh, it's Fiji.
Fiji.
All this time I thought it was Fuji.
It's Fiji.
Wow, Fiji. Oh, that's
Fiji.
true. Of course it is.
Fidget water.
Fiji. And then Ray's here.
Hi, John.
What's going on, Ray?
Oh, no.
I thought you were going to go hatless.
No,
Okay.
I don't have the flow like Scott does.
And then drum roll, please, our special guest for today. Thank you very much on our incredible table inside of our recording studio. It looks an awful lot like Jared's living room.
A lot like his living room.
A lot. Mr. Josh Arana.
Yeah.
Gentlemen.
Joshua Arana. How are you,
Thank
sir?
you, thank you, folks. Thank you.
No, I'm
please,
serious.
Please, thank
Joshua Jenkins Arana.
JJA.
you. What's up?
I'm
What's up,
excited,
you guys?
man. I
So happy to be here.
used
Thank
to
you.
work with Josh. He's been on the show before. Two things that I know about Josh that he's going to hopefully enlighten us later on is Disneyland and Star Wars.
Yep.
Because I know
Wow.
really all things Disney, frankly. But you have recently like started your own company.
It's true.
You're an entrepreneur. I can't even say that word right.
Wow. It wasn't even close.
Entrepreneur. How do you say
Wow.
it? How do you say it?
Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Entrepreneur.
On Golden Pond.
Right. I've never been able to say it, so I just say business owner. You're just in business. Tell us, first of all, well, I want to know first because the audience probably now, like, what is your business? What's your company? Like, what do you?
The name of it, or just
The
what I
name
do?
of it and what you do.
Okay, so I started a business officially last summer called The Digital Impact, and essentially what it is, it's a, for lack of better words, it's kind of an all-service digital marketing business, servicing social media marketing, website design, paid ads through social media, Google Ads. So mostly it's social media marketing and managing.
And this would be for companies, individuals, what?
Yeah, it varies
Influencers.
right now. Yeah, right now it's mostly businesses, brands that don't have the time to kind of manage their own social media consistently the way they want to, the way they know that they're supposed to, and so they contract me. I have a couple of clients that are ongoing, servicing them all year, and then there's a couple that I've kind of serviced. They needed something project really, or like a campaign consistently for a season, and knew that going in, and then coming out, and there's a couple that I'm helping out, and then there's a couple things going around, different events and stuff in the area that I get to help out with, and so it's a variety of different things. It's been crazy, busy, and awesome, and and that's what I've been doing for almost a year. June will be a year.
I was gonna say, a year in, and sounds like you have a pretty healthy sort of client list, I guess, and schedule, and you're working. I mean, it's not like you're trying to still. I mean, I know you always want to get more people, but what I mean is you're not out there like, I did like one job, no. 6 months ago.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. My grandma wants me to promote her brand on TikTok.
Her small group.
Crochet.
Crochet group.
Right. Her WMF group.
She's still on MySpace.
Is anyone still on MySpace?
I don't know. Is that even still there?
The joke was more about my grandma being on MySpace.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, are you kidding me? You probably have a grandma like knows more than we do. She's already rolling out there with whatever what is the newest social media platform that might actually stick? The last one I heard of was TikTok. Is there anything since then that
there's nothing that's really competing with TikTok. There's another one, Crackle, that was but I looked into it a little bit. Hasn't really picked up a ton of steam, but right now TikTok is still the one for short form video, just getting, and what's really, what I've seen in the last year, probably even longer, maybe a year and a half, more podcasts similar to this kind of style. People interview, group podcasts, are putting their episodes out there. So they'll record an hour-long podcast, 45-minute podcast, let's say, and they're putting snippets of it out there and leading them back to their preferred podcast platform.
So this is the thing. Speaking of podcasts, I listened to a podcast, and this is what I wanted to get into with you. Is they were talking about, this guy was talking about sort of the philosophy of how you do everything. And I know everything's into these short form, like Reels, or I don't know all the names of them.
Reels and TikToks,
Right. But I think even Instagram has a version. Is Reels Instagram?
Reels is Instagram, yeah.
And then TikTok, right. And then I think even Facebook's coming out or had something or whatever. Point is, the philosophy that I heard, I wanted to see what your philosophy is like as far as, what I heard was YouTube is the beast, and everything's about driving everybody to YouTube, where then you can monetize, for lack of a better, whether it's selling them something that you're trying to sell, or hiring you, or what else? I guess if you have enough YouTube followers, maybe you can monetize it that way, whatever.
Sure.
But so basically you go watch the bigger version of it. Let's say it's a church. They show a clip of a sermon, right, on some of these other sites. The whole idea is to click and go to the YouTube and then listen to the whole thing,
Yeah.
And I guess business. But is that what you also recognize or feel like is the way to go? Or?
Sure. It really kind of just narrows down to the goal of the business, the brand, and what it is that they're trying to accomplish. YouTube is still, they say it's the second largest search engine right now outside of Google, and it's really competing to being the first one because people are more and more visual learners, and so they're learning more about things that they didn't know how to do, and they could see it and they can watch it on YouTube. So in terms of long-term video, yes, YouTube is still the beast of driving people over there. If you've trained your audience, if you trained and crafted them in a way to kind of sit through 30 minutes, 35 minutes of whatever your content is, they're used to that. Yes, then all your other platforms should be leading towards sitting on YouTube and getting that and being on YouTube.
It could be a question of different terms too, like conversion rates and things of this nature, but that's kind of what I heard, at least, is that that's sort of where the market's sort of settling.
Yeah.
Right?
So if it's a lot of businesses that tend to be, if they're relying on video as their kind of bread and butter, for instance, and yes, YouTube you need to figure out how to get yourself on YouTube, how to be able to monetize your content on YouTube, and then figure out how you can pull snippets of that content and put them in different things, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, whatever it is to kind of drive people over to longer form.
So I'm looking at, by the way, yes, YouTube, incredible, sir. Like I need to do something one day, and I looked it up, and 10 minutes later, I'm doing open heart surgery. It was cool. I'm just watching the video, and then I'm doing it. Saving lives. But in all seriousness, let's say our show, like we have a podcast, whatever, and we want to actually get some followers. Like we want somebody to or
listen,
or even monetize it at some point. Like, and so we put it on YouTube. I don't know how long you've been doing that, but we get it on YouTube.
Most of the time we've been on.
Okay.
After year one.
And
so
today's opening was atrocious, but normally when we're not goofing around, we have an opening that wasn't Ray's fault, but I'm saying like that we push toward. This will be for the audience, whoever actually listened to the opening. But we always talk about all of our other sites that people can find us on. You're the guy. It's your company. We come to you as a client. What are you telling us to do to get to where we want to be? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm first telling you to pay me. No,
of course.
I am telling you to first get your.
Like, what would be the strategy, right?
Yeah. The strategy is getting people, forcing people to rely on your content on the platform that they prefer. But if it is YouTube, if it is to make money off YouTube, and YouTube, if I'm not mistaken, to monetize you, there's several kind of layers or several things you have to kind of hit. You have to hit a certain following list. You have to hit a certain consistent amount of videos. Your videos have to have views. They have to be a certain length. YouTube was very serious, especially over lockdown. They were really serious about who and what they allowed. I mean, at one point it was like 10,000 followers. You had to have 10,000 followers in order to start even talking about monetizing. I think they brought it down last year, maybe to 5,000. And so that's what people are that's what they're pushing for, to continue to be a quality driven app. They're saying all of our content creators, you got to have this kind of, all that stuff. My encouragement would be to somebody else who actually even was looking into this is figure out the two things that you could do well. If it's audio, if it's video, consistently do that well. Figure out how you could do that better. Figure out how you could send out your message quicker, faster, more efficient to get people to whatever your end goal is. If it's YouTube, if it's your audio, but everything that you do can also be kind of like arms that grow. They can also be different things that can help kind of reach towards YouTube. But figure out what it is that what we really, really want people to do is to subscribe to our channel. And marketing, there's also like this principle of 7. They have to hear a message 7 times before they even will do anything about it. And whether it's purchasing something or whether it's downloading something, whether it's following something, they have to hear a message consistently, the same message of the same quality, the same caliber, 7 times before they will even consider making a decision, which makes it even harder in an age where people's attention span is getting shorter and shorter. It's even harder to do that. And so my encouragement is that people need to find the best part of their best content and put that out there as much as possible, as consistently as possible, so that people will say, okay, this is something of value. This is something that's going to help me or even entertain me.
Right.
And so, I as a consumer of podcasts, I consume different podcasts for different reasons and in different ways. If I am have the time to sit and focus on a YouTube video, yes, there is obviously a reason for that, but there's also space and reason for me I'm not going to sit in front of YouTube all the time. So that's why I love being able to hear a podcast on my headphones, doing something, going on a run, walking my dogs, doing yard work. There's some value there, with also the understanding that what they're trying to do is also push me to YouTube, to subscribe to YouTube. There is a podcast I've been watching on TikTok. I've been seeing snippets. And TikTok's a really funny algorithm, because essentially what TikTok does is you interact with one piece of content And TikTok thinks, oh, you want more of this piece of content.
Right,
So
right.
if it's the same podcast, if you liked
I
or
noticed
saved a
that.
podcast,
Yeah.
they're going to show you more of that same or similar podcast. And so there's a particular podcast that's on there, and this podcast, they're so smart in the way that they are doing it. This podcast is only available on Spotify. It's not available for free anywhere else. So Spotify bought this podcast. This young lady was doing it, and she was making a lot of money off it. Spotify said, we want this show, but the contract is your show can only be on us. It
Exclusive
cannot-
rights.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can only be with us. We don't want And so now I was the other night. I have Apple Music. We have Amazon. We have Amazon Music for other shows. And the other night I was actually considering getting Spotify just so that I
you
can
could hear that.
So I can hear this other podcast in the show because
interesting.
the content is really, really, really good. It's really smart. And my wife was like, no, we don't need a third audio streaming service. We don't need it for your little podcast. Like, no, we don't need it. We're fine. We've got what we need right here. And so it's really interesting how it all kind of works. I'm telling people all the time, figure out what it is that you do well and figure out how to send out that message well consistently to your audience as quickly as possible.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's, man. You guys have questions?
I do. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, what types of things are you seeing as maybe trends or whatever when people come to you? What's the biggest problem that you're seeing right off the bat if people are struggling with and they come to you for?
Right now, what I've been seeing more and more. So something happened when we all got shut down. TikTok especially skyrocketed with the amount of visibility that people had, and it was really interesting to see the kinds of trends that were taking place over there, and how quickly certain and really, really stupid trends happened, and how people just kind of just jumped on it. And one was because we were bored, one because we were at home, we were stuck, we weren't doing anything, and so now what I'm seeing happen is that the kind of content that people are consuming isn't this kind of crafted, like, oh, everybody's doing that same trend. Some of them obviously are still very successful. Now what we're kind of seeing is people needing to be authentic on social media. So this idea of putting on your best foot forward or everything looking perfect, if that is something that is a strategy that happened in like 2021, 2020, like that was happening back then. Now what people are finding more and more is finding like an authentic self and finding kind of like who you really are. Your screw ups, your mess ups, when you're stressed out, when you're not perfect, that's the kind of stuff that people aren't seeing. And what you're seeing that naturally happen more often on TikTok than you are on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is still, people still tend to be a little bit more polished and clean. TikTok, it can be really kind of all natural really, really quickly. And so what you're seeing is now businesses and brands needing to kind of do a shift and say, how do I connect with my client, with a future client, with my target audience? How do I connect with them in a way that is more authentic than inauthentic? On a lot of things that we went through the last couple of years, a lot of things that we put out there was a persona that was kind of fake, and we were just trying to be entertaining, and we were trying to be entertained ourselves. But now all of that is kind of getting stripped away, and now we're trying to find a way to be more authentic as we share our message.
Sure.
And so brands, I'm finding businesses are having a really hard time doing that because they were so used to doing it a certain way the last couple of years. That's what I'm seeing now.
Okay. So on that train of thought, then, what advice would you give someone that's struggling to make content?
Record everything.
Okay.
Record everything. And this is something I'm even struggling to do myself because I'm not somebody that I'm not used to putting my phone on record and recording myself. But even I'm just seeing more and more people just recording themselves, typing on the computer, turning on their card. I mean, it's so silly, but that is the kind of things that people want to see. And somehow there's a crazy message that's going in there that your life doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I wish that there was a way there was a camera set up on the side of this room, on the corner of this room, to see how it takes to get this show started. Because it's just so funny what you guys do just to hit record.
Right.
It's hilarious. That I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, this is gold right
That's
here.
So funny.
This is gold, and this is what people need to see. So my advice would be record everything, get used to figuring out what your content is, what it is that you're good at, what it is that you're not good at, and who it is that you're trying to message to, and figure out how to message to them as quickly as possible. I heard this quote the other day, that, well, I was reminded of the quote. I heard it a while ago, but I was reminded of the quote that if you try to reach everyone, you end up reaching no one.
Right.
And so it's so important that you figure out who it is that you're trying to specifically target, and what it is that they are figuring out, or what they need to figure out, what it is that they're struggling with, what it is that they're dealing with, and how it is that you can solve some of the problems that they're dealing with in their own life.
That's good. Yeah, it's that niche thinking, right? It's like find that niche, that group, and then answer the questions that they're asking. Yeah.
Are you seeing AI start to creep in at all with social media?
Yes.
Any what?
AI.
Oh, AI.
And
I thought Allen Iverson was.
and right now I haven't really played with a lot of AI. It seems like people are playing with AI for more of like ideas of content.
Sure.
And some caption content. There's a couple really funny videos on TikTok of people like saying, "Okay, write me a breakup text to send to my girlfriend," or whatever. And that's really funny to watch. So that's kind of happening. And there's some fear, like people are like, this is going to replace our jobs and replace what we got to do. I still think that there's obviously like a need of really smart people in fields like that can kind of help make emotional decisions.
But that's what they're going for. There's going to be a point where that's all you need are the smart people, and everybody else is expecting them to.
Well, I'm a web developer, so I see like trends will come through, like when Wix and the GoDaddy site builder back in the day really started hitting. The developers were like, these are going to take our jobs, and then it turns out they weren't what everybody thought they were, and we still need people to put that together.
You still need people to put it together.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
The job descriptions change, but the work doesn't really change.
And it requires people, I think, just to be flexible and to figure out what it is in my field that I need to pivot.
Right.
What is I need to pick up on? How do I utilize? How can I utilize AI so that still my brands, my businesses are dependent on me? I know how to use this tool, this resource.
Make myself valuable.
Exactly. Not
Keep myself valuable
as much as I can. Yeah.
So, how much would it cost for me to have you help me with my OnlyFans site?
I don't think there's enough money in this world.
I'm sorry. I thought it was called Only Fan.
That's a good point too. No, I thought it'd be OnlyFans, and all I would have are like different kinds of ceiling fans. And that's actually good. I just realized.
Would they be?
That could be a podcast idea. I'm not sure.
It could be like a web store. Like a Shopify.
OnlyFans.
And then you come in and you think you're going to find a bunch of hot girls or something.
All the content is pictures of
like
fans.
Ceiling fans.
Every picture just a fan.
A window fan.
Jeez, dude.
Wow.
Box fans.
Onlyfans.com.
That'd be cool.
John's OnlyFans.
It's my OnlyFans site. You got to go see it.
And
then we go on TikTok and just make all kinds of clips about my OnlyFans store.
About fans. This is my biggest fan.
I think OnlyFans.com is taken though already, right?
I think so,
Yeah.
I'll do one of those weird ones like OnlyFans.eu or something.
This is the stick that I hit my fans with. It's my fan club.
Oh wow! That's good.
Go ahead.
That's awesome.
Anybody?
No one.
Wow, fan club. That's good, man. I'll start thinking of them later, but they'll start coming to me when the show's over.
That'd be fantastic.
And those are things you need to record. Those are things you need to record. Yes.
That would be
So
fantastic.
are you doing any like editing and stuff too, or are you just doing? Because I've seen a lot of people that spend a lot of time doing that kind of stuff. Just because. Obviously they want transitions to be good and all this other kind of stuff. So you do that as well.
Yeah, and yes, and for people that are you are correct. I do. There's a lot of apps that are out there that make it easier to do it if people aren't super experienced in that. But yes, that is one of the things that'll be included. One of the things I do because it's just brands they just don't have the time. They just don't have the time. Don't even know where to start. I'll outsource a couple of things that are like, okay, this is. Typically, if I outsource a project, it's because I just don't have the time to get it done in the time frame that they want it. So I outsource it to somebody who can do it faster. But yeah,
So how does that work? Do they send you footage and then you edit it, or
correct.
do you actually create the content too?
It depends, but okay. So most cases it's creating the content, which I prefer being in a spot, in a place, in an event to create it to get the overall vibe of what's happening.
Yeah.
And that helps me out for editing. Everybody's got their own process, but that helps me out. Or if I have an individual's account, but they are not local, they'll send me.
I see.
They'll send me their their stuff, and
it's pretty cool.
And I'll edit it.
I needed you like 5 years ago when I was trying to do comedy for like really trying to do comedy. Like I needed somebody like that could put stuff out. That's the part I'm not good at. I mean, I can do the jokes, but you know, when that self-promotion always hit me hard, you know?
Yeah.
So unless you have an agent or like you said, you know, maybe pay someone to help. I mean, it's,
yeah.
Well, now I'm doing this.
Yeah. TikTok, I mean, it's huge for comedians and podcasts. I mean, TikTok is huge.
I know. And we have a podcast, but that doesn't mean.
We do. We stink at marketing.
We're not good at marketing. We're just not good. We are not marketers.
No.
I'm a marketer when I go shopping.
Right.
Supermarkets, but.
Oh my God.
Stupid.
Shopping for his fans.
Right.
And then the clubs.
The clubs.
Picking up his fans.
Duck clubs.
Duck clubs.
Yeah. It could be a place where fans hang out. It could be the fan club too.
The fan club. That could also be another name for the website.
There you go.
Yeah, go to the fan club.
Call it the fan club.
It's pretty cool. I like that. It's better than what I wanted to call it. It was Windy City, but.
Windy City.
Fresh wind, fresh fire.
Fresh.
The freshest.
The freshest. I'm so fresh and so clean. Anyway, that's cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And so, is it fair to ask, like, if you had to guesstimate how many clients you have, like, currently that you're managing, how many would that be?
Well, I mean, right now.
Or projects, I guess, too.
Projects, it varies between about 4 to 6 projects, but consistently it's about 4 to 5.
That's cool.
Clients that. Yeah. And it's,
Is that hitting where you want to be, or do you want to get bigger? What you
get bigger.
Talking about like bringing employees and all that
absolutely.
kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And there's people like
You want to be turning work away.
there's people around that I'm like, oh man, I wish I can give you part-time.
Oh,
work
okay.
right now.
Gotcha.
Like, it's just there's people I know that are like just looking for work and trying to
In that area.
get started and
Yeah.
have an eye, and they're just really smart.
interesting.
So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
totally
and there's
cool.
no need to like be in indoor, in an office or anything like that. Everything is just so easy to do things. So right now, the work is, gotta, contracting some things or outsourcing some stuff with people, and hopefully that comes in and grows. And so, yeah.
Do you usually know when you're going to have to do that? So you kind of build it into, I guess, whatever you might be quoting somebody or all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So you kind of see
I try to I've learned how important it is to kind of really talk through with the client what it is that their expectation is.
Yep.
And so I can kind of figure out like, hey, this is, if they really need a specific breakdown, then I can just show them like, hey, I'm going to have to outsource this project. That's what you're going to be paying for. So
ballpark, if I'm, it's like a starting out kind of person, I guess, trying to build a brand, and maybe it's built on a personality or something, right? Not like a business, like you said, it's like more of maybe a podcaster or a performer or something like that. They come to you.
It's us.
No, it's not us. No, it's not us. I'm serious. No, we've seen our day. But the no, but I'm being serious. Like just somebody who's starting out and they're not good at marketing, whatever else. They say, hey, I need you to help build me a brand, and my goal is obviously get myself out there or get whatever I'm doing out there, right? It could be a weight loss coach. I don't know, a life coach, something. Ballpark, what are they looking at giving you a month to make that happen? What's your window? I don't mean like your rates. I'm just talking about like, what does that person need to know they need to be able to afford to be able to bring someone like you in?
It would take some conversations back and forth. This could easily, it could be anything as, I think can be as simple as kind of between 500 to 1,000 a month, depending on what it is that you're specifically looking for. Doing the actual, like, let's say paid advertisement isn't that difficult.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's not, the design of an ad and the copy. That's not, it's the strategy that goes behind it. It's what people don't realize is, and I honestly didn't realize it until I stepped out of my former work and got into this full time. The amount of research that pulls an individual. I'll spend hours and hours and hours just researching the audience that this will be communicating to. And it sounds so crazy, but just the other day I was spending hours just researching hashtags. Wow. Crazy. Wow. Spending my time on the computer, and then have my wife's iPad Pro, and I'm like researching hashtags. How many people are following this particular hashtag? And literally hours of just spending time doing that. Wow. That's a lot of marketing in and of itself is just the amount of research of trying to reach it. So,
but it goes to what you said about knowing your audience. Like you have to figure out where you want to be, because that's any communication.
Sure.
If you don't know your audience, then you're going to struggle with your communication. You might communicate really well, but if you don't know
who it is that you're talking
trying to hit and what, like you said, their issues are,
and how what you're saying can help them out. It's knowing who it is that you're talking to. It's knowing the pain points that they're in the middle of right there in their season. So it's knowing that target audience, the ideal customer, ideal client, whatever you want to call it. It's knowing what it is in their season right now that they're struggling with and dealing with, and then it is how this particular message or set of messages is helping that ideal client.
That's really cool.
Let's break it down. Like if a church,
I'll give it to you. So I want to revive my comedy career. My message is comedy, clearly, but what I mean is our target audience is going to be churches. And I want to help them, say, with outreach. I want them to be able to bring neighbors, families, whatever. I want to do all of that, but I need to. Well, I know what a website costs. So I obviously need to get in a website, but then, again, want to be able to market myself to these churches to bring me in.
Yeah.
And possibly even do some speaking on a weekend or something. But I'm going to come help you as a church have a great opportunity for you to bring some people in, and we're going to see people come to Christ. It's going to help your church.
Yeah, I would if I were marketing your comedy. Now it's I know your comedy, I know what you can do, I know how funny you are. I would also be telling certain comedians, okay, obviously put together some sort of let's put together some sort of packages that are a little bit more broad that can reach multiple different types of churches, organizations,
non-profs, whatever.
Correct. Let's just put together a couple of packages that show your kind of. Yep. Show your talent, but then figuring out, okay, if we knew the specific locations that you're going to, and we knew where you were landing, we knew the type of churches they were, we knew the demographics of the people, general demographics of going there, then I would probably say, hey, what if we found some jokes that were a little bit on the edge for some of these locations that were inner city or a little bit younger or a little bit edgier? Like, what if we found that pushed the envelope? Because then what they could do is they could say, hey, you want to hear this? You want to hear this comedian who said this joke that you wouldn't typically hear on a Sunday morning, but then you find out at that comedy night they're going to be speaking. Let's assume you land these jokes. You do a great job. Let's assume it's a great show, and you tell them that somehow they find out that night you're there the next morning or whatever. The amount of people that would come back like, oh wait, this I had a great time tonight. Let's assume they heard the gospel. Let's assume that they I had a great time tonight. I want to come back tomorrow morning. That's probably one strategy I would say. Yeah. Then if there's another,
you could flip that too, though, because you could come in and be there for a Sunday morning, do a show on Sunday night.
Yes,
you can come in and do some things, and then maybe that inspires them to bring some friends back Sunday night, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we actually had a couple events that we did that for other big holidays and stuff like that. And I think that there's something to be said about how strategic that is. I think that also you find out a couple of packages that are not as edgy, a couple of jokes that are not as edgy, but are still funny, that make people think a little bit. Yeah. I would assume, I'm not a comedian. I like to be funny. I like to think that I'm funny. I don't think I'm that funny, but I like to think that I'm funny. But I think comedians, I think comedians can be some of the smartest people because they figure out where that line is, how far I can get to that line. I think some people don't care about offending people, but I think that there are many comedians, I would assume, that they find the line, how far can I get to that line that brings people joy, not tears them down, but makes them kind of think a little bit differently.
The good comics do that.
I think it's just so smart how some people set up some of their jokes and their shows to suggest, hey, I think there's a different way to look at this, or to look at the hilarity of a situation. I love personally, as a Christian, somebody who grew up in the church, I love making fun of Christians, and I love making fun of churches, and I think it's so funny when people are able to do that in a way that just kind of makes you think a little bit different. Like, oh yeah, that is kind of weird from a different angle and different perspective. So I would try to figure out like what are the ways that we can target.
Yeah, I think it's good stuff. People. Yeah, I mean it's. But like what you mentioned, that's the gold is the strategy, and then the obviously the know-how of the way things all work and the tools. But the strategy is kind of where it's at. Yeah. I mean, I think that's just like you talked about with what you're promoting. You have to know that that's how you can help people, right? Because everybody, like, sure. I mean, it's not hard for me to have a conversation with somebody who might be interested in booking a show but it's much more difficult for me to find those people.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, to narrow the focus even of a message or anything else. So whether it's a business or a person or whatever, yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
just the other day, was that me?
I don't know what you were sorry about.
I think it was Ray.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
There was some cookies
Don't
fighting
blame
back.
that on me.
Ray.
Don't blame that on me. I moved my chair.
I wasn't sure if that
That
was.
crumble's causing the rumble.
That was okay. So
Rumble in the crumble.
That was a rumble from the jungle. Yeah.
okay. So just the other day, I'm in an Instagram group with, just a bunch of content creators in an Instagram group with the CEO of Instagram.
Wow.
Adam Mosseri, I think is his name, his last name, how you say it. But he sent out this message on Thursday that was really interesting to me, and I actually even posted this myself, of how he said that what they're finding at Instagram specifically, what they're finding the rise on is indirect messages. And what they're seeing is that among teenagers, more than adults, who are now people who have been using Instagram for 12 years or getting into their, late 20s, early 30s, but now more than adults, teenagers are using stories and direct messages, DMs, in a way to share and to connect with people that they haven't seen really before. And so what his encouragement was to us content creators is to figure out how you create a piece of content that forces people to share with their friends or to share on their stories or to connect with other people.
That's interesting.
And so it's the same thing that I would say about like comedians, that I would say about brands and businesses. What is it that is your message that connects with people, that wants them to share it with other people that they care about? It's really interesting that that's what they're finding.
Pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to reach out and get a hold of you and hire or talk to Impact Media,
Digital Impact, thedigitalimpact.com. But probably the best place, because I want to connect with people on Instagram, is probably finding me on Instagram at the Josh Arana.
Josh Arana.
At the Josh Arana.
Be cool if you went to Ohio State, because you'd be like the Josh Arana from the Ohio State.
Josh Jenkins.
Josh Jenkins Arana.
At the Josh Arana.
Yeah. At the Josh Arana.
Yeah.
Is
That's
on
me
Instagram.
On Instagram.
But
Let's
you
connect.
can also go to your website,
You can,
obviously. But
yeah.
it's
and then my
easier.
link is on my Instagram. So.
That is awesome. I don't know if anybody listens to us anymore, but I hope
They do.
someone might reach out.
This guy.
I'm actually genuinely interested in talking. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I mean,
Let's do it.
it sounds like doable when I hear you talk, but for me, I just look at this endless stream of nothingness and I'm like, how am I supposed to find gigs?
Yeah.
It's just weird. But the message part is good. I think the ones who do the best do have a message, and then they want to share that message. So that's pretty cool. All right. You guys got anything else real quick before we wrap this thing up?
No.
Okay, Josh, thank you for being
Hey,
here.
thanks for having me, guys.
It was awesome.
So
man.
fun to be here again.
We're going to have you
Thank
come back. I know Josh is going to be with us next week just as a guest.
Okay.
Sweet.
We're going to have some fun. But really appreciate you.
Thanks for having
Friend
me.
of the show, man.
I
Honestly.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
All right. Well, hey, audience.
Do you have any shows coming up?
I do. Yes. There's one this month.
Do.
This week.
Yeah. When is
Is it
it?
this week or next week?
What's the
Jeez,
date?
I
What's
think you're
the-
gonna ask
what's
me
the
that.
date?
I don't know. It's in
Today's
May.
the 16th.
Can we post it in the show notes or something?
Yeah, put it in the notes.
Yeah, we'll put it in.
It's a church show. It's in Temecula,
okay.
and it's in May.
Okay.
And I can't remember the rest. I'm performing with Ace
get it.
Guillen. It's a friend of mine, Ace Guillen, asked me to come out and do some stuff.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go. I don't really do a lot of shows anymore, but I love it when I get to do it.
Okay.
It's something about being in front of an audience. It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I want the audience to put something in the feed.
Give us questions under comments.
Questions.
Yeah.
I think too. I'd like to know everybody's favorite social media outlet.
Okay.
What do you
Platform.
get consumed with? Platform. Sorry, outlet, platform, something.
Yeah.
Scott, you know you like AOL.
Jeez.
You know
Hey.
you're still on AOL.
He's on
Yeah,
AIM.
you bet.
Yahoo.
As soon as I get my dial up going, it goes right there.
Yeah.
Hotmail.
Do people rate? Do you want people to rate your show?
Our show.
Yeah.
Rate
I think Jared does. I don't know what
I
that
do.
is.
Yeah.
Rate my show.
5 stars.
Five
Is that-
stars.
Is it up to 5? I've lost
Yeah.
track.
I have no clue. I don't even
That
know
helps.
what rating is.
That helps. Like,
Does
say-
it?
Yeah.
All these things would help us find more people.
Yeah.
Do we still have people in the Middle East that listen?
We do. We have people everywhere
They
that
are.
listen.
5 stars.
Yeah.
What I get the most joy out of is there's an off chance.
That's where your OnlyFans are.
Well, no, there's an off chance that one of them might be like a terrorist cell group,
jeez.
and they're gonna so mess up because they're relying on us for
Right.
intel on America. And they're gonna be like,
They're gonna think all of us are this dumb.
Yeah, right. They're like, we don't need to mess with them. They're their own worst enemy.
We're going to Canada.
We're doing our part to save America.
America can wait. Let's go somewhere else. Anyway, no, just beautiful people in the Middle East. I'm Lebanese by
Design.
ethnicity, whatever. Yeah, my mom. But I love the Middle East. Anyway, love everybody in the audience. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks to the crew, and we'll see you next time, everybody. We out.
Later.
See ya.
Bye.